So, we have heard from John about what happened. That Jesus died, and then he came back to life again. But when the others all told Thomas about it, Thomas said he wouldn't believe them unless he'd seen it with his own eyes. And I reckon, to be honest, probably quite a lot of us are on Thomas's side, aren't we? We hear that story and we think, yeah, if that was me, and they told me that Jesus was back from the dead, I probably wouldn't have believed them unless I could see it with my own eyes as well. Or maybe we can imagine telling one of our friends that Jesus has really come back from the dead, and we think, to be honest, they would be like Thomas too. They would say, I can't believe that unless I can see it for myself. Because we don't normally believe things that we can't see with our own eyes, do we? Or do we? We have got a very special guest who's coming to join us to help us think about that. I'm really excited that she's coming. She's called Dr. Sceptisizzle. And she never, ever believes anything that she can't see with her own eyes. So, can you give a big round of applause to welcome to the stage Dr. Rachael Sceptisizzle?
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sceptisizzle. So, is it true you never believe anything that you can't see with your own eyes?
Absolutely. Why should I? I mean, unless I can see it with my own eyes and touch it with my own fingers, I just do not believe that it's true.
Wow, you really are a lot like Thomas from our story.
Yes, conveniently, yes.
Well, I want everyone here to get a little glimpse of what your life is like. We've got a few guests who are going to come up. And to start with, we've got your very best friend, Dr. Joe Gogglesnizzle.
Oh, Dr. Gogglesnizzle! Oh, it's ever so good to see you, Dr. Gogglesnizzle. Now, tell me, how are you? How's your weekend been?
Oh, it's been really marvellous. In fact, yesterday I had a truly exceptionally delicious ham sandwich.
Did you?
I did. It was truly delicious.
Well, I don't believe you.
What? Why not?
Well, can I see this ham sandwich?
No, I've eaten it.
Oh, how convenient. Can I touch this ham sandwich?
No, absolutely not.
Well, then how am I supposed to believe you? Look, unless I can see it with my own eyes and touch it with my own fingers, then I cannot believe that it's true.
Well, that's absurd. I mean, I've seen it. I've eaten it. You've got to believe me.
No, well, I'm sorry, I do not. I don't believe you ate that ham sandwich.
Ridiculous.
Oh, dear, Dr. Sceptisizzle, this does seem to be a bit tricky for you, doesn't it?
Yes, a bit.
Let's try someone else. Let's try a teacher.
Oh.
Toby, do you want to come up? Toby is a teacher, and he studied history at university.
Oh, very nice to meet you, Toby.
Now, Toby, give us a favourite fact from history that you might teach one of your classes.
Well, now, I love learning about Henry VIII. And Henry VIII was a bit of a rascal, wasn't he? He had a bit of a funny life. And my pupils love learning about his divorce with Catherine of Aragon. Now, that happened in 1533. And when Henry divorced Catherine of Aragon, he sent her far away from his castle to Kimbolton Castle, just outside Cambridge. And she got a bit bored there, so she went down the road to Buckden Towers. And I love showing people the castle and telling them about Henry VIII's divorce from Catherine of Aragon.
Well, that's ridiculous.
What?
Well, it's ridiculous. I can't believe that it happened. Can I see Henry VIII divorcing his first wife, Catherine of Aragon?
Well, no, of course not. I mean, it happened 500 years ago.
Oh, well, that's convenient, isn't it? Can I touch Henry VIII divorcing his wife, Catherine of Aragon?
Come on now. No, of course you can't touch it. It happened 500 years ago.
Well, then how am I supposed to believe that it's true? I will only believe things that I can see with my own eyes and touch with my own fingers.
But that's absurd. I mean, the whole point of history is that somebody else saw it, and then maybe they told someone about it, or they wrote it down, and then we read about it later. I mean, if I was stood in my history class, and I had lots of boys and girls in front of me, and they wouldn't learn any history unless they'd seen it with their own eyes and touched it with their own fingers, well, there'd be nobody in my class, and I'd get a different job. I mean, that's absurd, Dr. Sceptisizzle.
Well, it's ridiculous.
Well, you'd fail one of my history
Well,
tests.
I don't want to do one of your history tests then.
Oh dear, it does seem that this is very difficult. I tell you what, let's try someone else. Maybe it'll be better if we get a scientist.
Oh, yes. Someone sensible at last.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Now, Dr. Dennis, Meet Dr. Sceptisizzle. Dr. Sceptisizzle, meet Dr. Dennis Alexander.
Very nice
of the
to meet you,
Faraday
Dr.
Institute.
Dennis. Good to meet you. Now tell me, Dr. Dennis, about your area of research.
Oh, well, I do research on genes and DNA and all that sort of thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful genes. Okay. Well, can you show me one then?
Oh, well, I can't show you one. No, of course not. No. I mean, how could you do that?
Not you as well, Dr. Dennis. Look, I told you I can only see it. Can I see it with my own eyes?
Well, actually, I have seen genes with my own eyes, but you had to use a very powerful microscope. We don't have space for it here, but people have seen it. Yes, oh yes.
Well, then how am I supposed to believe that it's true? I have told you, unless I can see it with my own eyes and touch it with my own fingers, I just can't believe it's true.
Well, you know, that's ridiculous, really, because how we scientists work is we have to believe what other scientists have told us before. They write it down in their books, and they are good witnesses. We trust them because of what they've told us in the past. And really, if we had to start and repeat all the experiments in the world that ever came up until now, we'd never have time to do anything else or discover something new. So we have to be trustworthy witnesses for the science that we do, and to be a good scientist, you can't be like Thomas was. You have to do exactly what Jesus told him that he should have done. Blessed are those who have not seen him and yet have believed. To be a good scientist, you have to do what Thomas should have done every single day. You have to believe what reliable witnesses have told you.
No, sorry, Dr. Dennis. I can't do it. I can't. I'm sorry.
Oh dear, Dr. Sceptisizzle, it seems like not believing anything you can't see with your own eyes does make your life a little bit tricky.
Well, it does, if I'm honest. But, look, I'm fine. I don't need any of those people with their blind faith in their history and their science and their ham sandwiches. I don't need them. I just need my eyes and my fingers and my brain.
Your brain?
Yes. My intelligent, rational brain.
But, Dr. Sceptisizzle, how do you know that you have a brain? Have you ever seen it?
Have I ever seen my... Well, no, I have. Oh, no. Oh, I've been such a fool. I just thought people told me it was there, but I haven't ever seen it. Oh, no. I don't have a brain! Oh, no!
Well, that was very interesting, wasn't it? It turns out that we all need to believe things that we can't see all the time. I mean, we have to do it whenever we talk to one of our friends about something they've done. We have to do it anytime we want to learn something from one of our teachers. And even scientists like Dennis have to do it every day in order to learn new things and not have to go back to the start and do everything themselves and get nowhere. The sensible thing to do all the time is to believe what we're told by people we can trust. We believe the testimony of reliable witnesses. That's the sensible thing to do. And I think that's what Jesus was gently telling Thomas that he should have done. He was saying, Thomas, you really should have believed the others when they told you that they'd seen me. Because Thomas had loads of good reasons to believe them. It wasn't just one person that was telling him, it was loads of people that were telling him. And they had no reason to lie about it. And then John says, he invites all of us to do the same thing. Should we look again at what John says at the end of that bit that we read? It should come up on the screen. He says, Jesus performed many other signs in the presence of his disciples that are not recorded in this book, but these are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name. So I think what John is saying is, look, you, even without seeing Jesus yourself, you can believe what we're telling you because, like Thomas should have trusted what we told him, you can trust what I'm telling you now. And actually, we have the same good reasons to be able to trust what they tell us as Thomas did. We actually have loads of others, but just those two that I said, Thomas should have believed them because there weren't just one person telling him, there was loads of people telling him. And it's the same for us. It's not just John that says that Jesus came back from the dead. We've got 4 Gospels, 4 biographies of Jesus written close to the time by different people, and they're different in loads of ways, but they all agree that Jesus definitely died, and then he came back from the dead, and he spoke to people and touched people and appeared to lots of different people. And then we have loads of letters from the time that all say the same thing, and history tells us that all the first followers of Jesus insisted they had seen Jesus alive again from the dead. So it's not just one person, it's loads of people telling us this is true. And they don't have any good reason to lie. They don't have a reason to lie about it. Because, of course, people do sometimes lie, don't they? Maybe even some of us have sometimes lied. Maybe sometime you broke something in your house or you knocked something over and you said, it wasn't me, even though it actually was, right? Sometimes we lie to get ourselves out of trouble, don't we? But you would never lie to get yourself into trouble, would you? But John and the others, when they said that Jesus had come back from the dead and they'd seen him, that got them into trouble. Big trouble. Because all the police and the politicians, they hated what they were saying about Jesus. They told them they had to be quiet. And they wouldn't be quiet. They kept on saying they'd seen Jesus back from the dead. And John was actually put in prison for it. He was sent off to an island called Patmos in exile for it. And he was the lucky one. We know from history that loads of the others were killed because they kept on insisting that Jesus had really come back to life. See, they wouldn't have lied about it because it didn't do them any good. It actually just got them into really big trouble. They had no reason to lie. So John is telling us that we don't have to be like poor old Dr. Sceptisizzle and only believe things we can see with our own eyes, because if we did, we would know pretty much nothing at all. And we'd end up going a bit crazy like Dr. Sceptisizzle. The grown-up, intelligent, rational, sensible thing to do is to believe what we're told by people we can trust. And John is saying, when we tell you that we saw Jesus back from the dead, you can trust us. You can trust that we're telling you the truth, that he really died and he really came back to life. And if that's true, it's amazing.